Don't believe what anybody else tells you.
Okay.
You're all wrong.
So close to comedy.
It is actually.
And it's fuzzy.
Finally, somebody recognizes it. I find it endlessly hilarious. But not just me.
So the standard question's been, tell us what the show's about. Give us your pitch.
Well, the show, I mean, at the center of it is something that I think is very, very identifiable, which is a young reporter whose brother goes missing, and as he starts to investigate, he starts to suspect that the disappearance may, in fact, have something to do with the fact that his brother was the fan of a new, kind of very strange television show that also happens to be called Pulp. So our audience at home will be watching a show called Pulp. It's about people watching a show that's very dangerous. It's also called Pulp. And my intent is to just kind of break down that fourth wall and really try to immerse the audience at home in the experience and kind of wonder, what's real and what isn't. And it was interesting when we showed the pilot early on to an audience. When it was over, they were very excited to talk about the show, and they would say, well, in the show, they were referring to the Billy Grimm and that part of it. They said, but in reality, da 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 da. And to me, it was like I was just sitting there grinning because they're talking about it's still the show, but they're talking about the outer layer of the show as the reality. And I said, exactly. So I was my first very excited moment that the audience was really connecting in the way that I wanted it to.
What was the inspiration? Because there's shows like Supernatural, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who have such a following, and the fans are really loyal, but they're really adamant about what they want. Were you inspired by that in terms of this show, in terms of those types of fans who maybe go a little above and beyond devotion?
I mean, it started actually in a much more gentle place than that. It did start with Farscape. I mean, Farscape was at a time kind of right at the beginning of that interaction among fans who were connecting with each other, not as from the water cooler, but via online. And I looked at the Farscape experience and said, okay, it's as I tend to do. What if the show they were all rallying around wasn't a science fiction adventure show, it was something darker and a good edge? And then married to that, the fact that, yes, there are fans who, and like I said, the Farscape fans are really incredibly warm family. And so, this is a tremendous reach for me, okay? But it's what I did, okay? And I have a long commute, so I don't have time to think of something. And so, then it started to kind of blossom from that into, there are fans who love the object of their fandom, but love too much. And there are those people that take it to another level. And I started to think, okay, if there was a show that was an edgier show that drew people to it, that were inclined to like an edgy show, but then it would also draw that other level of people. And what if they were able to communicate and connect with each other beyond that? So it's almost it's a pretty dark reference. But what if John Hinckley and Mark Chapman were able to connect that, communicate, and make a connection online?
It's like psycho fantasy football.
Yeah.
So when you have a show that has so many mysteries, audiences are going to try to grab on to something, and you gave them the whole snap-off thing. You're going to be aware of audiences trying to figure that out, but are you going to try to pay it off and continually to keep them, guessing, or are you going to, because sometimes audiences will just hyper-focus on snapping off, and then that's all they'll want to understand.
Yeah, the series is designed so that you can be a weekly viewer, a casual viewer, and completely enjoy the show as a mystery that has a lot of surprises, but clearly a mystery with answers. It isn't something that just keeps going to be piling one mystery on top of the other. There will be answers along the way. But for those who kind of really want to play along, there's a whole other, there is another level to it, and things that they can start to kind of, find and piece together. And that dovetails very much with the social media aspect of the show. So there really is there's almost 3 levels of the show at play. Probably more if I thought about it. But there's the inside show, which is the show that everybody within the show is watching. The Billy Grimm, Detective Kelly Collins portion of it. There's the what I call the outside show, which is the Jeff and Sky and the investigation to find what happened to his brother. And then there's the world around us and the social media world of all of us and the fans of the show, and all of those should play and interact together. And it should be, like I said, it's really kind of very cool, immersive experience.
Where did you go to research something like this? Where did you research on cults? How do you?
I'm just, kind of my own interests, in that kind of that sense of connection and the sway that one individual or prescribed group of individuals can have over larger masses. To me, there's obviously somewhat metaphor about television itself. So that's kind of a natural extension.
Were there specific cults that you did look at, or?
Not really, no specific ones. But no, not at all. I mean, it really is just it's more the kind of the cult experience and how it kind of potentially in its truest way relate to television. So.
As you walk away from it, are you the one writing the business notes right off? Do you like the first one?
All the time you like.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was